welcome to Time to Heal. My name is Pam Hemphill, and I bring you the dark side of addiction into a whole new light. And today we're honored to have a very special guest with us. His story is just a miracle. You're going to be amazed when you hear what he has to share with you. And so I want to get started right away and have him introduce himself to you and start sharing his story.
Pam, thank you. My name is Ilir Nina, and I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. I have been sober over 17 years, and happy to be here in your show today.
17 years. That's a miracle.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit. Where were you born and raised?
Okay, I was born in Albania. Albania was a communist country, and we were born very poor, and my father was an alcoholic. And then I was there till about 16 years of my life until I escaped to another country.
You escaped? Why did you have to escape?
Oh, Albania, it's like North Korea. It's very close behind the Iron Curtain. That's what they used to refer them at that time, you know.
Oh.
So I escaped to Yugoslavia.
By yourself or with your...
By myself.
Was your father still drinking at the time?
Yes, he actually, for the time being, he was about 6 months in jail. He had some issues with the government, but then he did die drinking at 68 years old. So.
Yeah, my father died from alcoholism too. It's hard. Huh?
I think pear falls under the pear tree, I guess, huh? Okay.
So when you escaped and you went over there, what happened then?
Well, I was in Yugoslavia for a brief period of time, and then I was accepted by United States as a refugee through whatever mechanisms they had through United Nations, and then I came to Boise.
Were you drinking as a young teenager?
Oh, absolutely. Because of my, political activity and my openness with fighting against the government in ways that I could, I was really in danger. I was suspended from school indefinitely and was prosecuted and being pursued and followed until I escaped, And then, I was in a time of loneliness and despair, and drinking was the only one thing that kept me functioning and surviving,
How did you survive? Were you living with people or what?
In Yugoslavia, you mean? Okay, no, I was taken into by United Nations, and they kept us about 6 months, and then we moved on to United States.
Okay. And so when did you come in the United States?
I came in the United States on November 3rd of 1988.
Oh, okay. And then what happened when you came?
And then when I came at that time, I had been drinking. Really, I didn't know what life was all about, because I had been drinking. I didn't care about family or anything. And then at that time, when I realized that we're born and we're gonna die, I went through a very deep depression that I couldn't shake off for a couple of years at that time. And all I did was just drink to survive, I truly think, even in Yugoslavia, when I left my family, and in the United States initially, alcohol saved my life because I forgot everything. But then it turned against me, where I became suicidal. I was in Boise for the first time when I was living in a bedroom apartment where the ceiling would kind of cave in on me in the morning, and I just didn't have any desire to go on, so life without or with alcohol was difficult, So.
Yeah. What happened with your family?
In Albania. Well, after I left Albania, my mother thought that I was dead for about 3-4 years before they found out that I was alive, because I would send letters from Yugoslavia, initially from the United States. The government withheld those letters, and so my mother really thought that I had been while escaping, I had been devoured by some wild wolves or bears or something in the border, and the government knew that I had escaped, but they would never tell them,
Okay.
So that was painful for her, as I can imagine. I have kids of my own now, and imagine losing your son and not knowing what happened,
Did you get any illegal trouble like DUIs or?
Yes, absolutely. I have a couple of well, actually I have one DUI, but I fought off another one, you know. Well, I had a good attorney, and I got off on inattentive driving, you know. And but the first one was DUI, and but I was always drunk. I drove drunk many times. You know, it's just like you drive drunk and you look outside the next morning, the car is outside, and I say, how in the hell did it happen? You know, seriously, I vaguely remember. So yeah, I did what alcoholics do. You know, you don't think and you do stuff, and it got really bad. You know.
Did anybody ever come to you and say you had a problem?
Yes. I was in Wyoming. Something had happened over a weekend, and I was locked up in jail for a couple of days. And then somebody, a close friend of mine, she dropped a book of Alcoholics Anonymous in the cell. And then many years later, when I sobered up, I realized that she was trying to give me a message that I had a drinking problem, you know.
Yeah.
For the longest time, you know, people would say, you know, talk about God and all this 12 step stuff, you know. And I didn't see how God had to do with my job or anything, you know, but then much to my relief, I realized that it was all connected, you know. I mean, alcoholism or alcohol is just a symptom of my disease. My disease centers in my mind, and it's selfish and self-centered. And then if it's not fed, it really puts you through a ringer, you know. And so, you know, the problem is life, you know, or living sober without anything or any aid to cope with. It was a difficult thing because I never learned how to live in a normal life. You know, I don't even know what normal is today. I'd assume it's a cycle in a machine of some kind, but
well, look where you come from. How would you know?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Often enough, I tell my wife, I tell her how we did not learn how to cope with life. You know, it's just like, how did we miss all that stuff? Well, we did, because my father was a drunk, and my mother was working all the time to support us because he would drink the money and he would suffer for food. I mean, you know, I'm telling you, when I escaped Yugoslavia, you know, out in Albania, I would see a chicken walking and not salivate just because we were so hungry, you know. And we would just, my mother would just like borrow money on Friday and have to pay back the next Friday without even having enough money to survive for the next time, you know. You know, Albania was communist, and man, the people that lived in the villages, we supported the whole country with potatoes and wheat and everything, but we were the poorest of all, you know. I mean, I'm telling you, suffering for food, something that most people around here do not know what that means. Oh, we're so spoiled
here, I know, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Even people that don't work, they get food stamps. At least they get fed somehow. You know, we didn't have nothing, absolutely nothing, you know.
Yeah. And food bank here, and
all that kind of stuff.
You're not going to starve here.
Yeah, we did starve. I'm telling you, I know starvation, the first sign, and you know what? Because of that, I have provided abundance for my family, and I've spoiled them as a result in the other end, and I don't think that's healthy either. So.
Well, that's okay though. Balance will come.
Yeah.
So when she gave you this book and you're in jail, what happened after that?
Well, then you know, I moved back to Boise after that, and it was like this. I would be working, getting a job. You know, nobody quite fired me. I always quit before they could, because I built up to that. Yeah. As a result of alcohol, you know, alcohol use and wrong decisions that I made. But it was automatic though. Initially it was automatic. I'd get paid and I'd go drink. And that's when I had crossed that invisible line from regular life to addiction, to alcoholism, when it's automatic anymore. You know, you get paid and you go to the bar. And often enough I would spend my paycheck in the first night and not having money to pay rent or car or anything. And then, as I was telling you, I was at this coffee shop downtown, and there was this gentleman there. He was a Vietnam vet, and we connected there. And I asked him, "What does he do?" He says he's in recovery, and he said, "What kind of recovery, you know?" And he said, "Recovering from alcohol and drugs." And I said, "You mean you can do that?" I didn't know that. Let me backtrack a little bit. Back in Wyoming, you know, the judge sent me to get some evaluations. These recovery groups needed money from me and all that stuff, and I didn't go. But then this guy said, you know, you can go to 12-step meetings, and and it's free of charge and all that stuff. And then when I went there and all these people shared, I connected. You know, I'd always lied who I was all the time, try to, you know, pump up my story so I can look more important and all that stuff. And then I came to a group of people where they were honest, you know, and I could hear they were telling, you know, the stories in a very, very honest fashion. And I was hooked, you know, even though it took me about another probably good 6, 7 years to sober up after that. But I had brief times that I sobered up for a while. I would build everything up again, and overnight I would destroy it, you know, for sure, you know, and it's just like that's how it was for a long time, you know.
Oh, that's it. Well, you definitely qualify for having an alcohol problem, don't you?
I have never doubted that, and you know what? I'm relieved today that I know that, because the most difficult part for anybody in recovery is realizing that the problem does exist. Yeah. And once you realize that the problem you have and you accept it, and then you know that, you know, then the program came in really nicely, you know. It's like this, God has always protected me all throughout the years. I can look back. I was always carried by hand in my most difficult situations. And I never really connected those dots until later that has been God all along, you know. Somebody said in one of those 12-step meetings that God protects fools and drunks, and I'm both of them.
Were you raised in a certain religion, or?
No. In Albania, where I came from, there was no religion. The communist government was in charge, and you could worship them. And people that did believe in something, and if they prayed, they were arrested and put in jail for a long time. You know, yeah. So they prevented religion. So I grew up religionless, you know. Right. Yeah. And but not completely. I mean, you know, because the older folks, grandparents and stuff, they always believed in something and prayed, and we did have the seeds of you know, higher power, as we call it in our 12-step programs, but that did not become apparent to me much later, you know.
Okay, so where you were living in Boise when you came into the program then?
Yes, I was living in Boise. I had finally moved into Boise. I was done with all my geographicals, you know, and then I came to Boise to go back to college, you know.
Okay, and when did you meet your beautiful wife?
I met my wife in 1994. Albania had changed, and I went back, and that's how we met.
Oh. Yeah. And you two have been married?
I mean, by paperwork, we've been married since 1994, but in reality, we got together in 1999.
That's a long time. Yeah. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's. I feel sorry for her. She had to put up with me all the time.
You got married here, and then did you go to college here? Or?
Yes. I have 2 undergraduates and a master's. I went to college for 8 years, the first undergraduate from 1991 to 2000, pretty much 8, 9 years. And I was drunk and I couldn't graduate. And I dragged and dragged and dragged. I just didn't give up.
Really?
And then I walked out of college in 2000. I'd been 3 years sober at that time. And I said, what the hell did I just do? I had wasted all the money with a GPA of 2.06 or something. And I was disappointed. However, I had graduated with all my drinking problems, and you know, but if I didn't quit my last 3 years, I probably would have never graduated. It was, I mean, alcoholism took a toll on me.
It sounds like God did it, I mean, for you.
Yeah, God did it for me, and that's what I'm saying, that He was always there, and I just didn't acknowledge or didn't have a clue at that time, you know.
You are truly a miracle, and look where you are now. Will you tell them about this business and how you got started?
Yes. So I have 2 undergraduate degrees, one in information systems. That was my first one. Then I went back in 2007, and I got my undergraduate in accountancy, and with that I got 3.6 GPA. A year later I got my master's degree, and Masters of Taxation. You know, tax was what I always wanted to do. I've practiced like for 15 years. But I just didn't have the credentials. And that's what I wanted to do after I got out of the first undergraduate. I just wanted to go back to get either my master's or something. But the GMAT was very difficult for me because I'm from another country and language was a problem. And, you know, but I did. You know, finally I got that compensated with some other. That's why I went to get my second undergraduate, so I can boost up my chances of getting accepted in the master's program. And then after that, I got became an enrolled agent, which it's tax related. Enrolled agent is the person that either works for IRS for a long time, or you have to pass some very hard tests, 3 hard tests before they can certify you to practice before the IRS. And also I got my CPA license, and then ever since, for last pretty much last 5 years, I've been doing taxes and representing people in front of the IRS. I do corporate taxes, partnerships, S corporation, individual. I represent people with examination issues in front of the IRS, local IRS, national, in-person and mail correspondence. I do represent people in the collection due process, which includes, negotiation with the IRS, offering compromise, installment agreements. That's the IRS portion. Then the other part that I do is I work with the local states. People have residency issues and various state issues, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Montana, but Washington and Wyoming and Nevada don't have any state income taxes. But I represent all the state income, any state in United States, as a matter of fact, but more California, and North Dakota, all these other states that people kind of entangle unknowingly, and I've had a good success rate on that,
Just look at you, this business, your wife, your children, what a miracle. There's a lot of things, in the program they always say if you keep coming back it gets better.
Yes.
Well, for you,
for me has gotten beyond my wildest imagination. When I was drinking out there, I always thought that, somewhere I'll meet somebody, they'll give me a chance or do something. That didn't happen. I had to sober up, I had to do the work, and I gave myself a chance with God's help. Of course, I built everything on my own. Nobody ever came through that somewhere around the corner my life would turn. He never did. I had to do it with God's help, slowly. And yes, it is beyond my wildest imagination. Whatever I've been given and blessed with, not many people get in the lifetime even born here, and I came. I'm a newcomer to the country.
I know. Do you do any work with new people in the program?
Yes. I recently, my sponsees have dwindled down a little bit because I've been involved more with my business and stuff. But I do have a couple people that I work with in regular basis, and I always make myself available to others for questioning or guidance or whatnot. I'm always helpful. It's just sometimes in life you can sponsor more, sometimes you can sponsor less. It all depends. And I'd love to go back and be in the 12 steps more involved than I have been recently, but between family and business and this and that and the other, so that has limited me only to meetings for myself and limited interaction with my sponsees, So.
Well, my sponsor always used to tell me, give what belongs to the job, and give to the family what belongs to the family.
I wish that was that easy.
Well,
they're not easy compartments.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Balance is what
Yes,
you're.
of course.
Because if I give too much in one area, I'm gonna leave out the other, and then in the long run,
I hear.
I'm not really working a program. I'm just into workaholism. We gotta be careful. I owned a business once, and I was doing 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Oh, I still went to meetings, but
Pam, here's the deal. I'm a tax accountant. From now till April 15th, it's busy.
Well, yeah.
It's busy. And now, even if I didn't work for myself, if I worked for somebody else, I can assure you I'd be working 12-hour days.
Right.
So you got to work somewhere, whether it's for me or for somebody else. This happened to be for myself. However, though, I do bring my family here when I work. We go to dinners. So, I compensate. I take him out, and I'm always available. I pick him up from school and back and forth. I would love for things to slow down so I can go to meetings. Because here's the deal. A friend once said that if I put recovery first class, everything else I do second class becomes first class.
That's
and
right.
I am very, very aware of that. And here, even when I go to meetings, my days are much more productive and better. Of course, absolutely. No, I'm just saying that we adjust in our recovery. Ever since I've been sober, sometimes we're better, sometimes we're, you know, tight, and you know. But yes, I get up in the morning and I get on my knees and I pray and I ask God and I thank Him for all the good things that He has done for me in my life. And then, you know, I do all that stuff, and my days are less chaotic, but they're even less chaotic when I go to meetings, you know. And so, no, absolutely, I'm convinced that that this is a design for living, and sometimes it works better, and depends on the direct participation that we put in it, you know.
Well, you know, being an alcohol and drug counselor, just checking.
Absolutely. No, my wife is a counselor. She's mental health, exactly for me, you know. I'm a mental case. That's the case that she feels unable to do anything about.
You know, I just love what you shared, you know, how you're keeping everything in order and keeping the priorities. You got God first in the morning, and that's the most important thing. Because I remember I heard Bill W. say one time, if you go the whole day without harming anybody, you've worked all 12 steps. And that's what you're saying.
Well,
you're living it.
The program, sometimes you can work it better than others, you know. But also the good thing about being in the 12-step programs is where you know what works. And you know, you can muscle it out there, you can muscle it out there, but then after you get punched pretty good, which still, you know, I mean, I can't say that I'm the kind of person that learns fast. You know, I learn the hard way, and then I go to the fault. You know, then I know where to go and what help to get, who do I call, and everything. And people call me, and that gets me out of myself. So I am in there. I am in the recovery all the time, in some way or another. Even doing taxes. You know, when a lot of people owe taxes, you know, then my recovery skills kick in, and I try to comfort them, try to give them other alternatives, you know, whatever, you know, sometimes it is what it is, you know, and dealing with it, it's what you do next, is how you go and set it up for either collection procedures, installment agreements, just to make it easy for people to survive. I do that, and you know, the biggest hit that people can get is financial, you know, the tax bill is the hardest one. And let me tell you, if you pay $10, $15, $20, $50,000 and all that range, and you tell me how you're going to feel, you know, I mean, but I get a chance to use the skills and say, look, here's the deal, there's always alternatives, you know, nobody will get blood out of turnip, we'll fix him, you know, we'll put him in a path or make an agreement, an offer or whatnot, you know, just, no, people are usually very happy. My clients have really shown a lot of respect for me. And I have had committed to them, and I still committed to help them out, because that's what I do. You know, I'm not here just for me, you know, I'm here to take care of the public. It's what I can do for my clients rather than what they can do for me. We can kind of support each other in that respect.
Yeah, you are practice the principles in all your affairs.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the only way. You know, you come to the program and you become honest, and it's very difficult to be dishonest after that, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to go back there. We only have 3 or 4 minutes left. What would you like to share now with those that are out there struggling, that are looking at you going, oh, I'd like to have that, but right now maybe they just got out of jail and they're feeling hopeless, suicidal?
Well, as I always say to the meetings, you know, don't live before the miracle happens, you know. They can have everything that I have and more, because not everybody likes what I have, you know. Maybe people like business, some people like peace, whatever. You know, the peace of mind is the bigger one. You know, get a sponsor, work the process, follow direction, and don't question, because our mind is our worst enemy. We have always analyzed things, but we forgot that the analyzer was broken, you know. And you can't go on self-destruct all the time.
The analyzer is broken.
Yep, the analyzer is broken. we are incapable of analyzing stuff.
You should make that a bumper sticker.
And then the thank you. That's a good one. Yes, I appreciate that. And I'm not. I don't think anything I said has been original. I've heard it from others before. And but so just stick with the winners. Stay in the program and make an effort and ask God. And I mean, you know, it's a package. And you know, I remember in the first, you know, I couldn't sober up initially, and then I started going to the program, And I showed up every night in the meeting, and I took responsibility. I chaired the meeting, and then I stayed there for 2 years. Sometimes I wasn't unsure. I was waiting always for the other shoe to drop for me to get drunk, but I didn't, you know. And then I kept staying there. You know, you got to stay with the winners. You got to stay in the program, and if you do what you're told and ask God, I think everybody stands a chance. You know, if I can do it, anybody can. You know, and I did go to jail, you know, and people feel so awful. I felt awful. In the first year I was in collision course with everything and everybody because I was sorry that I had wasted all my life and I wasn't staying sober, and everybody was successful and I wanted what they had today, and that didn't happen, you know. And then slowly God revealed to me that I needed to come down and needed to pursue various avenues of life, school, and you know, paying bills and doing the right things and moving forward in the right way, and it eventually happens. 3-4 years might seem a long time, but in 3-4 years, 5 years, I had child support, I was in debt, I was everything, and you know what? That all dissipated. Now I'm looking back and say, how the heck did it happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, what a miracle you are.
Thank you.
Do you want to share real quickly your name of your business again and a phone number in case anybody wants to get a hold of you?
Yes, yes. My business name is Idaho Tax and Bookkeeping LLC, and my phone number is 608-5653. Call if you have any tax issues, you know, owing, back taxes, being audited, examined by IRS, state. I do all that stuff and be more than happy to see what I can do for you. Thank you.
You know, I'll be here to have you do my taxes this year. Absolutely.
You said it on TV.
Yeah,
you better show up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a blessing you are.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us today. This is, God, what a miracle, you know, and don't give up. Our mind says all kinds of stuff to us. Oh, that would never happen to me, and I'm not good enough, or how would I ever get the money to just do what the program teaches you. Stay in the now. Do it. We do this one day at a time. Get yourself a sponsor and let them guide you, okay? And just know that we're here for you. And again, if you need any help with your taxes, now you know who to turn to. And just know that we're here for you anytime. If you have any questions and going through some real difficult time, you can call me too. My number is area code 208-340-3274. And bless you and have a good day, and keep coming back because your miracle is on its way.
Thank you.
That was good.
Here, that was awesome.